I remember. I remember being 3 years old in a dimly lit basement. Like an old Polaroid picture seared in my mind, my first memory on this earth was not swinging or playing, laughing or happy, but scared and confused, abandoned and abused. I remember sitting quietly in a dimly lit office, soft piano on the radio. Mommy tells me I'm safe. It's okay. No words in a 3-year-old's vocabulary to convey the evil that happened that day. I remember. A doll in each hand was the only way I could explain. Through shame and fear, confusion and tears, it became clear to those present a stranger stole my childhood away. I remember. Years passing, but the pain never ceasing. Life goes on, so I push forward, but OCD became part of my DNA. Paralyzed by patterns, obsessed with compulsion, out of control, so I checked the lock 3 times, maybe once more just to be sure. Counselors insist medication's the cure. I remember watching my mom drown in an ocean of Oxycontin, pills pandering pain, pessimistic plight piercing my passion for life. Watching her overdose time and again is seared forever in my sight. I remember. The woman I once looked up to, so strong and so fierce, now the shell of a human engulfed in addiction I can't see through my tears. I remember. Standing in the agonizing quiet of my home, alone with the darkness of my thoughts, searching for a light that could not be found, intent on stepping off a serrated knife's edge into the other side of eternity. I remember. Tears pouring down my cheeks, flowing through the wrinkles of my skin like tributaries of pain towards an ocean of shame. I remember. I remember waves of tears splashing on the counter, spreading like ink in a Rorschach test, and death is all I see in all its complexity. I remember calling out to Jesus in one last act of sorrow. Give me a reason to live, God. I don't want to see tomorrow. I can't fathom the future in this moment of sorrow. I'm trapped, Lord, please help me. Every second's an hour. My heart is scarred beyond all recognition, burned by the fire of abuse and neglect, anxiety ridden, all joy hidden. I can't see past this knife in my hand. I'm dying to end it all. I remember. I remember God's voice, though it sounded like mine. It had authority and power. You can't leave her alone. You'll ruin her life. I remember. The tornado of emotions that obscured my vision and clouded my mind suddenly halt. All I could see was my sister's face, her smile stunning and bright. I remember. The little girl I spent my life protecting from boys, crying with every time Mom overdosed, leaning on when there was no one to trust but her. The only one in my life I could not leave behind. I now know I must fight. I remember the defeat I felt. Suicide was impossible. No off-ramp on this freeway of fear. No escape from my despair. I remember. Sobbing on my knees to Jesus as I put the knife down. I hear you, Father. I won't give up on my life. But I'm broken beyond measure, full of doubt and immense rage. Heart cold as a frozen tundra, not even climate could change. I'm paralyzed with fear, but I give my life to you. I submit. I've run far enough away from you, Jesus. Help me out of this pit. I remember the calm that he gave me at that moment of submission vanished beneath the thundering echo of police at my door. Away in cuffs to the hospital, stripped of my shoestrings and belt. I told the doctor I'm so tired I can't fight anymore. I remember the clarity of hitting rock bottom, the smell of that sterilized room and the buzzing of fluorescent lights drowning out the sound of alarms and chaos in the emergency room. I remember Jesus carrying me out of the raging hurricane that fateful day into the clear eyes of sobriety, holding me tightly in his arms until I could crawl back into a fractured existence, but an existence with hope. I remember lying in bed, tracking God's miracles in my life, flipping through pages in my mind like an old photo album as I pondered how he brought me from suicide to success, pain to peace, and from despair to delight as my newborn daughter's precious hand grasped a hold of my finger so tight. I remember.